like you said, we come from a little bit more raw time. Hey, hey, lard ass. I was being called
Yeah.
lard ass for
Yeah.
quite the young age, right? So I was fully aware, especially back then, man, obesity wasn't like it is now. I mean, obesity is the biggest group, I
Yeah.
think. I think there's more fat people than not fat people at this
Oh
point,
my
which
gosh.
is so
Yeah.
sad, dude. It's so sad. And or at least I know in my community, I was by far
Mhm.
in the minority. I mean, I know like there can be arguments made for maybe more denser populations with, I mean, there was just a ton of outdoor things you could do,
Yeah.
and I could still go out in the neighborhood, ride my BMX, and it was pretty suburbia. You weren't really worried about getting ran over. I'm in my
Yeah.
apartment complex now. I don't like to let my kids off their leash. It's horrible. I'm the
Yeah.
worst
Yeah.
about it. But so people are fit, and I sort of realized I wasn't fit real young, and tried to do something about it, but just I couldn't exercise or move enough to deal with my overeating and my binging and
Yeah.
trash diet and stuff like that. So, and there's those young adult lives where I think is where all the body positivity, they're either older skinny people that are feeding the flame for clout and
Yep.
attaboys because they know how to be nice to fat people, or it's young
Hmm.
obese people that just don't know yet what happens. They clearly don't know how to control themselves. They've gotten so obese already young, they're going to just only get more obese, and then their
Yep.
body's going to start shutting down, and they're going to
Yep.
take years off the end of their life, right? And
Yep.
I kind of was dealing with both, and it kind of took
Mm.
into, and I had gotten so big where I was starting to become homebound in my obesity.
Yeah.
So it's not just
Yeah.
even leaving early. You don't learn how to deal with this,
Yeah.
it eventually just shuts you down, where life is just, it can't help but be quite a bit miserable because you're
Yeah.
just trying so hard just to function. You getting in and out of a car is near impossible. Getting up and out of the
Hmm.
couch is near impossible, let alone going for a walk, because you're just getting so stinking fat. So
Yeah.
it sounds so, you're losing people, you're not a young
Hmm.
man, but you're not an old man either. You're still prime age to be moving. Where did this start going for you? Where did you start having changes inside of your thinking? Was this, I guess my question, all that to say, was this the first time you had ever tried to lose weight other than the lap band surgery?
No. Um, I mean, I mean, like my I remember one of my earliest. I want to say I was like maybe 10.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
I had
Fourth
a
grade, they get you in the fourth grade.
yeah.
The gloves
It's
come off in the fourth grade, doc.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was it was meal replacement shakes,
Okay.
which for me I was like, but I always did it wrong. Like I would do the meal and the shake. so,
Of course you did.
so I'm like, you
Of
gotta,
course you did.
Jared lost 100 pounds eating a 6-inch sub. So I'm like, I'm gonna eat a whole sub and lose the weight quicker. It's like that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way, bro.
I
You
was on
gotta.
that same diet. I could.
I was
Who in
like,
the right mind can eat half a sub?
yeah,
I'm eating
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thing.
It's like,
We'll figure it out as we go.
yeah. I mean, a 12 foot. I'm gonna do the 12-inch meatball sub. Like this
Great.
This can't be healthy,
No,
you
it is,
know.
dude. No, they had all those
Yeah.
linebackers eating those things. They're great for you. And Jared.
Bro,
Yeah.
it's like I think for me, here's what happened. So because here's the every diet that I've taken on in life, I always had results, but I never could keep on the track, right?
Hmm.
And it hit me this time around. Like I was probably 6 months into. I started my journey on July 5th, 2020.
Okay.
My whole thing was like, let me get Pat. The 4th of July is my favorite
It's
holiday to
fair.
like
It's
drink and
fair.
eat a bunch of crazy food. So I'm like, you
Not.
know what?
Yeah.
Let me have one more full day of binging. Let me drink all the beer, eat all the stuff,
You
do all
didn't
the
wait to New
things.
Year's. I think that was quite. I think you were early. If you ask me, you were 7 months early.
I was like, let me. So July 5th, I started.
Okay.
And I did keto. I don't
Okay.
because my thing is like keto is. I'll be honest. I tell anybody if you're just trying to transition, do keto.
That's a,
Keto's the easiest. You can still drink. You can still like all the stuff that you like to do. You can still do.
still have.
Just slight pivots, right? And I start losing weight, bro. I lose about 20, 30 pounds. And during this time where everything's stay at home and I'm in Riverside, by the way. So I'm an hour east of LA.
Okay.
So, right. So they they say, hey, you can now meet. So our church decides to start doing church at the park, right? So we come back to church at the park, and folks are like, Earth,
I see it.
we're not trying to be funny, but
Yeah,
have you lost some weight?
it's
And I'm like,
nice.
what you mean? Have I lost some weight?
Oh,
Yeah, right. And so people are starting to notice, and you would think that okay, you're 4 or 5 months. It was maybe 4 months. It wasn't, but it's like you think okay, you're 4 months into this new thing, and now people are noticing you're getting results. It should be a hole in one, a all net shot. It should be a complete touchdown. But in fact, that's when I started feeling terrible. I'm like, I don't feel happy. I don't feel fulfilled. And it hit me that, yo, diets are removing this thing that I've ran to my entire life for comfort. No wonder diets have never worked for me because you're telling me to limit my food intake, but yet that's where I go to feel at peace. That's where I go to feel safe. That's where I go to feel loved. No wonder I always quit and run back. That's my lover. And so I had to, so and so I got a coach. I got a new mentor, and I'm like, yo, like I need to figure out what I'm seeking. Like, let me heal this heart so I don't need comfort from an
mhm,
outside source.
mm,
So that's really for me when the journey actually got real because now it's like you're no longer looking at the results. Let's go find out and let's focus on the cause. And let me tell you, bro, and I tell people this all the time like, if you aren't really ready to change your life, don't even try,
right,
just die.
right,
Because and it may sound harsh, but it's like, there have been things I've had to face, bro, that I'm like, yo, if you would have told me on July the 5th, hell, if you would have told me this on July the 4th, here are all the things you're gonna have to go through to really make this through. I might have been like, you know what? I'm good. But it's like for me, the taste of losing weight, the taste of something potentially being better, and I would say the exhaustion of being where I was. Like I was so tired of it, bro. I'm like, I hate this. That's what pushed me to say, okay, let me go into this path of the unknown and let me go down this rabbit hole and see what's going on in here.
mm,
And there have been things I've had to face. There've been and I tell people you're going to have to, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to go back to your ground zero moment. There's no way around it. If you really want freedom in your life, and it doesn't matter from what, if you want freedom, you have to go back to ground zero. And until you go there, and until you can be at ground zero and be a different person there, you're never going to have true breakthrough.
hmm.
And that's what for me. That's when the journey started. I'm
Can you
like, oh
can you can
snap!
you open up on that a little bit more? What do you mean when you say ground zero moment? What's that mean to you?
So my ground zero moment when I was 8, I got gang raped by some older kids in my neighborhood.
Mm,
I grew up in Nashville, so all of our rural Nashville, so like Madison, Tennessee is where we grew up. My entire neighborhood was surrounded by trees, forests, trails, woods, bushes, all that crap. And so it was nothing like a normal activity every weekend for us to go pitch a tent, build a fire, camp out with our friends in the backyard. We all
mm,
had them. So it's like, whose woods are we playing in this weekend? Okay, we're gonna go to the Hunt's house. So these were the group of kids that were twice my. I was 8, they're 15. My mom's like, they have low voices and mustaches. This is not your friend group. You can't hang out with them. But who doesn't want to be with the older cool kids, right? So I get invited out there, like, and the way my mother would tell the story, she told like she would say, "This was the night I discovered my youngest son was my bravest child." Because I was like, Mom, you might remember this back in the 80s, they would have these PSAs that were like not kidnappers, runaway. It was like, these kids on the street, they run away. And so I was like, Mom, can I run away from home tonight? And she was like, what? And I was like, look, I don't want to get in a fight with you. I don't want to argue, but
mm,
I want to see what it's like to be on my own. And so she's like, all right, what is this kid up to? She's like, all right, I'll play along. I pack my little bag, I leave the house, and she's like, he'll be back in 5 minutes. It's dark out. He's not coming. He'll be. I never came home.
Mhm.
So this whole like I get to where we're at. I meet up with the guys, and I don't know how long into the evening, but all I remember was next thing you know, I'm getting held down, and it's like the most terrible thing that you could imagine is. Well, let me be honest, I hadn't imagined that before, but now this terrible thing is happening to me,
God.
right? So for me, it's like, and it's crazy. I'm gonna go back and forth on my timeline here. It's crazy because like I remember like there was like in Nebraska, for example, one of the main reasons why I started drinking more and smoking more weed and getting crazy was because that's when I started having flashbacks. I'd wake up with pain and like, why does my ass hurt? What kind of dream is this? Why am I choking? What kind of dream? Like, and so it's like this suppression of this event. But all that to say, like this event happens, and I remember coming home the next morning, scared to death. I'm scared of dudes. I'm scared that I'm gonna get in trouble. This was a Friday night for Adventists. Friday night is a holy time because Saturday morning is Sabbath, and so it's like my mom's like, "Where were you? Oh my gosh, we got to get ready for church." So there was no time for me to, and I remember there was no time for me to take a shower.
Mm.
So I remember I went to church smelling like campfire, dirt, and just feeling gross, sitting in that literal filth. And it literally just, and I couldn't tell my, and I can't tell anybody because I'm gonna get in trouble. The fact that I was out, like just all the things I told myself about that event. I said I can't tell anybody. I've got to hide this thing and sit on it. What makes me feel comfortable as an 8-year old? You know what I discovered? Donuts.